In this video, I'm going to do an unboxing of a refurbished 4th generation iPod Touch. So let's get to it. Now, as far as iPods go, I'm pretty old school. I had the first ever iPod with the monochrome screen and the click wheel. I had that for a long time, and then I upgraded to a 5th generation iPod. Now, I know there's a lot of confusion whenever I say 5th generation iPod. I'm talking about the original iPods, not the iPod Touches. My original 5th generation iPod was stolen out of my car, and I replaced it with an identical one right here. And it's a little bit worse for wear. But it still works, and I use this to listen to all the podcasts that I listen to when I'm driving, even though the screen is a little screwed up, but it still works. Now again, to avoid all the confusion, the 5th generation iPod came out before the iPod Touch ever came out. And now there's a 5th generation iPod Touch. But in my opinion, it's way overpriced. I think pretty much all iPod Touches in general are overpriced. When you can buy a Nexus 7 tablet for less than $200, that's where I would expect an iPod Touch to be priced at. So the reason I'm getting a refurbished 8 gigabyte 4th generation iPod Touch is because I'm probably going to be getting rid of my iPad. But I still want to have access to iOS apps. Now, if I didn't have this channel, I probably wouldn't care. But since I have this YouTube channel, I want to keep apprised on everything going on in tech. And the best way to do that for iOS is to get an iPod Touch. So I opted for the cheapest way in possible. Because again, I think these devices are overpriced for what you get. So I went to the Apple site and I was able to get this device. It's again an 8 gigabyte version, and that's fine with me. I'm not the kind of person that keeps a lot of media, except for my 5th generation iPod, which you would call now an iPod Classic. That's a 60 gig, and I think I have about 40 gigs worth of music and podcasts and whatnot on there. So for that, yeah, I need good capacity. For this, I don't, though. So I was able to get this for $149 from Apple Refurbished. And this thing was sent to me directly from China, which is interesting since it is a refurbished item. I think with tax and everything, it ended up being about $156, $157, something around that range, which is reasonable. It's a good price, I think, for what you get here. I would probably spend up to $200, but I wouldn't spend $250, $300, $400 on an iPod Touch. Definitely not. So let's get my trusty cutter out here. Looks like there's one seal here, I think. And here we go. iPod. So even with a refurbished item, it looks like you get original packaging. And I think that's pretty much everything in the package, or at least in the outer box. So let's put that to the side and take a quick tour around the box here. Again, I'm pretty old school when it comes to iPods, so this box is pretty new to me, but you have iPod up front, you have your Apple branding on the left, Apple branding on the right, Apple Certified Refurbished, says right there, nothing on the bottom, and then of course your plain back with your serial number and all that good stuff on the bottom. So let's get this plastic off of here. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this is the black version. Now, just for the record, I'm probably going to be selling my Nexus 7 too, because I just find that I don't use tablets that much, but that's just me. So let's open this thing up here, and let's see what we have here. Pretty much the iPod Touch, which looks like it's shrink wrapped onto this piece of cardboard here. Actually not shrink wrapped, it's just under plastic. So let's see if we can get that out here. It's a very grippy plastic, there we go. Let's put that to the side, put this to the side, and of course it's going to come with some cords, probably some earbuds as well. Nothing else in the box. Let's put that to the side and let's just open up this little packet here. And let's see what we got. So, as I guessed, you have your earbuds here, and then you have your cord here. Now, this doesn't come with a wall wart. That's not a problem. I have one from my other iPod that you've already seen, and you can just plug this directly into your computer, so not a big deal. And then you have some documentation here. So let's put that to the side, and let's open up the iPod Touch. Now, I'm somebody who's been using the Nexus 4, which is a fairly large phone, and I'm not somebody who's used iPhones that much in the past, even though the new iPhone's a little bit bigger. But this device seems very small in the hand, which is good for what it's going to be used for, because what I'm going to use it for again is iOS apps, but I'm also going to use it as a remote control. So as you can see, I don't really need a lot of capacity on here because again this is an 8GB version, but let's pull this out of the plastic here. Let's see if I can slide it out. So if you're not familiar, the 4th generation iPod Touch here is a 3.5-inch screen, and you have your home button down here, your front-facing camera there. On the back you have your rear-facing camera, of course your power button, and then your volume rocker. And it says down here 8GB. Now also on the back you'll notice there's a little microphone here, and on the bottom here you have your old style dock connector, which is good because I actually do have a couple of accessories that use that. You have a bottom mounted 3.5mm headphone jack, which is nice. Instead of having it coming out of the top, it's nice to have it coming out of the bottom, and then you have a little speaker down here. Very shiny. I actually might get a case for this so it doesn't get scratched up like my other iPod, but we'll see. So let's fire this thing up. It probably has some juice in it. And we're going to get the little Apple logo there. There we go. Slide to setup. Pick English. We'll actually hit the arrow there. I always do that. Hit next. Okay, the next step here is to enable location services. Why not? Hit next. Set up iPod Touch. Set up as a new iPod Touch. That's fine with me. I don't really care about iCloud and whatnot. I try and buy my stuff from Amazon.com, and I don't really store anything up in the cloud, or at least in iCloud, even though I have a couple of Apple devices. Now it says Apple ID. Your Apple ID is used to set up iCloud, App Store, iTunes Store, and more on your iPod Touch. I do have an Apple ID, so I might as well enter that in, and I'll join you on the other side of that. Alright, let's just go through here. It's a EULA here, terms and conditions, accept that, agree. Set up iCloud, don't use iCloud. And diagnostics and usage, automatically send. I like to do that to help these guys out, to improve the operating system. It says register with Apple, register this device, might as well register. And start using the iPod Touch. There we go. Should look very familiar because this operating system has been around for a long time and it's very popular. And there we go. So that is, strangely enough, going to be my iPad replacement. Play some Words with Friends on here and, you know, try out the iOS apps that I might be missing out on Android. So that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And as always, if you want to help out my channel, give me a thumbs up or favorite this video. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.